Hello, I'm Steve Sugg, sales recruiting expert and author of the book, Can They Sell? Welcome to my sales recruitment video blog, 5 minutes of learning to hire the best salespeople. One of my clients recently told me, the telephone interview has saved me hours of time, frustration, and has actually made me money. She said, under the old way I used to do things, I would skip the telephone interview. If I liked their resume, I would call and schedule the face-to-face interview. And many times within the first 10 minutes of this interview, I knew that I would not hire them. But to avoid being rude, I'd spend another 50 minutes with them, and then I'd have to come up with a way to avoid telling them that they didn't get the job. So thank you, Steve, for teaching me about the telephone interview. Use the telephone interview to begin to screen for these 3 things. Number 1, attitudes towards your product and their image of themselves as a salesperson. Number 2, their motivations to change things and make their life better. And number 3, the character trait of honesty. When you schedule an appointment for this phone interview, whether or not the candidate schedules this time in a quiet office will also tell you the level of importance they place on the job. I once had a candidate who was in the car, and I was not too happy with this, but continued until they said, "Can I put you on hold a second while I give my order?" They were actually going through the drive-thru at McDonald's during the phone interview. I guess the job just wasn't that important. Here are some tips for conducting the telephone interview. This interview should not last more than 15 to 20 minutes. Engaging the candidate in an in-depth discussion is not necessary. We're simply attempting to make a decision as to whether or not to invite the candidate to our office for the face-to-face interview. Remember, the way they communicate to you on the phone is how they will sound to your customers. And if you don't like them over the phone, you most definitely won't like them in person. Measure for honesty by verifying information on the resume. Do this by choosing one of the positions on the resume and ask this question. Describe your job at ABC Corporation. If they've exaggerated or embellished their job duties and accomplishments on the resume, you've just determined that they're dishonest. So move on. Measure their attitude toward your products and the image of themselves as a salesperson with these questions. What do you know about us? What do you like about what we do? What caused you to have an interest in this job with us? What do you think this position requires for success? With these questions, you want to make sure they've done research on your company, products, and industry. You want to know whether or not they own your product, have used your product, or know others who are satisfied with your product. Do they like the idea of selling and controlling their income by earning commissions? When answering these questions, do they speak with confidence while telling you great things about themselves and how they like selling and serving and managing their time well? Do they use words like honest, hardworking, responsible? Do they talk about what they can do for you in growing your company and your customers and advancing your market share, or are they focused too much on what you can do for them? Measure their desire to make the future better for themselves and others by asking this question. What are some current and long-term needs that will be satisfied if you do this job well? With this question, you're looking for specific things like providing for others, long-term career, paying off debt, saving for retirement, college education, advancing their career, and a clear description of their goals. Learn about their sales and industry experience by asking this question. What has been your experience with purchasing or selling products like we sell, or your experience with dealing with salespeople from our industry? Also ask, what sales training have you had? Describe the sales process you follow. What in your background has prepared you for a successful sales career? Get a sense of their income needs by asking this question. What is the minimum amount of money you need to earn? Here's a good question that'll give you a sense of their focus on working and providing to take care of someone and on improving themselves. In order of priority, what are the 3 most important things in your life? Remember these interview tips. Keep it short and sweet. The goal of this telephone interview is to screen the candidate, not to engage in an in-depth conversation. If the candidate is asking a lot of good questions, tell them this. I like the great questions you're asking. and I'll be sure to answer all those when we get together for the face-to-face interview. Ask the questions and don't talk. Don't rescue the candidate. Let them sink or swim. If you decide to move to the next step, describe the next step to them, then tell them what to do. But if you decide to not proceed, tell them this. Thank you for answering my questions. I'm considering many candidates for this position. I'll keep your information in mind as I move forward. Do not tell the candidates you will call them back. Do not engage the candidate in advice on what they could have done differently. Simply repeat the statement above. Thank you for joining me. See you next time on the Can They Sell video blog for more sales job recruitment training. As always, please leave your comments below and forward this video to anyone who will benefit. Now go enjoy recruiting the best and have fun in the sales interview.